Everyone, welcome to today's news starter. So today in the news, there were certain important topics which we should be knowing from prelims as well as mains point of view. So we will discuss about it. I'll give you a basic idea which topics you should analyze from prelims perspective and from mains perspective. I'll give you an analysis also. You can take a note of it and then you can read the news accordingly. These were the important topics which were in news today. Let us start with the first one, that is Madden-Julian oscillation. So recently there was this cyclone which affected Chennai and the surrounding areas, which caused a lot of havoc and a lot of financial and human conflicts also. So Madden-Julian oscillation is one important factor which came into light at this point of time. From your geography perspective, Madden-Julian oscillation becomes extremely important, especially in prelims, because these kind of concepts are usually asked in the prelims examination. So what is this Madden-Julian oscillation? It is a eastward moving pulse of clouds, rainfall and wind. So that means it is a kind of a wind system which will move from western part of the earth to the eastern part of the earth. So it is continuously moving and it recurs every 30 to 60 days. So if today in Arabian Sea, along let's say for example along Kanyakumari, if you experience the Madden-Julian oscillation, after 1 or 2 months again the Madden-Julian oscillation will come. So why this Madden-Julian oscillation is very important? Because when the positive phase of Madden-Julian oscillation is there, and then cyclone also happen at the same time, it will intensify the cyclone to a greater extent. So that is why Madden-Julian oscillation is important. It is prominent over Indian Ocean as well as Pacific Ocean. This point is important. Two phases are there in Madden-Julian oscillation. One is enhanced rainfall phase or convective phase. Second one is suppressed rainfall phase. So two different phases are there. What is this? You can look at this diagram. This diagram will give you a very good idea. So in enhanced phase, that is this phase. In enhanced phase, what happened? Winds are at the convergence stage in the surface. So this is the Earth's surface. Here the wind will converge. From both the sides, the wind will come and then they will converge at this point. Once they converge, what will happen? The winds will go upside. The wind will move upside, and then once they reach the atmosphere, it will diverge. So this will cause rainfall. Here, the winds are coming together and then going up and then diverge. So once they diverge, the clouds will be distributed all around, which will result in rainfall. Suppressed rainfall stage is the stage where the wind from the top will converge and then they will move down, and then at the surface, at the sea surface, they will diverge in both the direction. So these two are the phases of Madden-Julian oscillation. So what I told earlier is when the Madden-Julian oscillation is in the convergence phase, that is a convective phase, and if cyclonic development happens in this region at this time, what will happen? It will further intensify the cyclone. So this is what happened with cyclone Mishom also. So you need to know about Madden-Julian oscillation. Along with this, whenever you are studying about Madden-Julian oscillation, you should know about El Nino, La Nina, and then the El Nino Southern oscillation. So these concepts you will be studying in your geography. Try to go through that also. This particular scheme was in news recently. That is Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyaya Maha Abhiyan. In short form, we call it as PM Jan Man. So what is this program? This program was introduced for the welfare of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So now we need to know what are these PVTGs. PVTGs are particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So we all know about the tribes. The tribes are one of the most affected people in the country. They are not socially and economically and educationally developed. Among the tribal people, we have a certain group called the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So in total, 75 such groups are there, which are spread over 18 states and union territories. Why we classify them as particularly vulnerable? Because their population are in decline. Their population has been reducing. Their educational development is not there. The area in which they live is completely isolated from the normal people. It is very difficult for the development schemes to reach them. So this is the reason we call them as particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So according to this PM Janman scheme, the government is going to develop good roads, power, homes, mobile connectivity, etc. for the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So the government has kept some target. These targets are important from prelims as well as mains examination point of view. 4.9 lakh Pakka homes are to be constructed. 8,000 kilometer of road are to be constructed. Piped water connection has to be given. 1,000 mobile medical units, because the health indicators of tribals are very less. Construct 2,500 Anganwadi centers, 1,000 multi-purpose centers, 500 hostels, mobile towers in 3,000 villages. So these are all the basic necessities of the people which are going to be given through this scheme. Apart from all these things, this point is very important. Vocational and skill training centers are to be developed in 60 aspirational PVTG blocks and build 500 One Dhan Vikas Kendras. So the government want these people to be skilled. The government want these people to come inside the labor force of the country. So that's why we are going to provide them vocational training and skill training also. All these points are important. From prelims, you will get the facts. From mains, in GS1, we can get questions on tribals. You need to know about it. National Clean Air Program. So in the recent times, the air quality of the country has been declining. Delhi specifically, you can notice every winter we get to know that the people are suffering too much because of the polluted air. So in this context, the National Clean Air Program becomes very important because this is considered to be the best program of the government. However, this particular program has been criticized also because the performance of this program is not as expected. IQ Air, which is the World Air Quality Report. IQ Air published the World Air Quality Report in 2022, which told that out of the 50 most polluted cities in the world, 39 belong to India. Out of the 50 most polluted cities, 39 Indian cities are there. So one of the major program which tries to overcome this problem is National Clean Air Program. What's the aim of this program? It aims to improve air quality in 131 cities. These 131 cities are called as non-attainment cities and million plus cities. Non-attainment cities means those cities which has not attained the proper air quality measure, and those cities which have more than 1 million as their population. So here the program itself divides these into two kinds of cities. One, the first type is 82 cities and the second type includes 49 cities. In the first type, which includes 82 cities, the target is to attain 3 to 15 percentage reduction of PM10. PM10 means particulate matter, which are under the size 10 micrometer. Particulate matter with the size of 10 micrometer or less. So that has to be reduced by 3 to 15 percentage on an annual basis. And overall target is to bring up 40 percentage of PM10 level. Air quality has to be increased 40 percentages. In the rest of the 49 cities, the target is 15 percentage reduction in annual average particulate matter. And the good air quality days. So we know that there is a measure of air quality index. In that index, the number of days with air quality less than 200 is the index that should increase. So this is the major requirement of National Clean Air Program. So National Clean Air Programs, details, facts, and all these things you should know from prelims examination point of view. From mains examination point of view, what you should be knowing is what is the India's pollution status, what kind of pollution happens here, what is the present status, and how to improve it. So these kind of things you should be knowing. So this is clean air program. In the present time, in the recent times, pollution has become very important. So try to give some importance to it. The next one, India's long-term emissions growth strategy. So in 2022, the COP, that is the Conference of Parties of Paris Agreement, happened in Sharm el Sheikh of Egypt. In the 2022, India gave some strategy. India told the entire world that these are all the strategies we will implement to reduce our emissions in the upcoming days. The most important strategy which India announced was National Hydrogen Mission. So these topics are important from mains examination perspective, because when it comes to climate change, you need to know which measures India has been taking. So National Hydrogen Mission, in which India told that we will produce hydrogen, we will even manufacture those materials which are required to produce hydrogen. So the idea is to make India a green hydrogen a green hydrogen hub. So types of hydrogen is one thing you can get to know about it. You can study about it. Threefold increase in nuclear capacity by 2032. This was also mentioned. Biofuels will be used more. Biofuels are ethanol blended petrol. So petrol is there for the vehicles. Out of the entire amount of petrol, we will ensure that 20% of the petrol quantity includes the biofuels, fuels which are made using renewable methods by 2023. So this is the target. We will increase the number of electric vehicles also. Sustainable and climate resilient urban development will be driven by smart city initiatives. This particular scheme, you can take it as your homework. Try to get to know what exactly is perform, achieve, and trade scheme. So this scheme is implemented to ensure energy efficiency. That was also told. 2.5 to 3 billion tons of carbon sequestration will happen. So what is carbon sequestration? Whatever carbon is given out in the country through industries or any other measures, those carbons will be taken care of. How do we do it? By planting more trees, because trees will suck in the carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. So plant more trees, all the carbon you release will be sequestrated. So these are all the major growth strategies, major emissions strategies which India has given. Very important from mains examination point of view. Some important points for mains which you should be knowing, which you can use in your answer. The first one, crime against women has been in the rise. So recently, the National Crime Records Bureau told that in 2022, the number of crimes that happened against women increased by 4%. So this can be used in your mains examination when you're writing the introduction. However, this doesn't exactly mean that the crime has increased. It can also be the cause that the number of crimes against women are getting recorded more in the recent times. But one point which is very important is in 2022, the crime against women increased by 4%. The most notable point here is out of the entire number of crimes that happened against women, 31%, that is 1 in 3%, nearly 1 in 3% was done by husband or relatives themselves. So this point is very, very important. When it comes to mains examination, women empowerment is a major topic in GS1 and GS2. So you need to know what are all the laws we have to prevent such crimes. Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act 1956. Because of this act, trafficking in women has become a crime. Dowry Prohibition Act is there. Commission of Sati has been prevented with this particular act. Protection of women from domestic violence. POXO Act is there. Apart from that, sexual harassment of women at workplace is there. Indecent representation of women actors there. So these acts you need to have a basic idea at least. You can make separate note of it and try to write 2-3 lines at least about all these acts. Main question of the day: air pollution is solely responsible for highest number of respiratory disease in India. This is the statement. The question starts from here. Explain the measures taken by the government to control air pollution. So in this, what you will write an introduction, try to give some data there and tell that in the recent times air pollution has increased to this extent and the government has taken important measures such as National Air Quality Control Program or National Clean Air Program, something of this kind. And then you need to write all the measures, whatever measures the government has taken. In Delhi, we have this graded response measure and the National Clean Air Program is there. In Haryana and Punjab, they are doing certain measures to reduce the burning of crops. So these things you can note down one by one. Try to write at least 5 to 6 of these measures and then you can conclude. Some important points from prelims examination perspective. European Free Trade Association. What exactly is European Free Trade Association is extremely important for your prelims examination. European Free Trade Association is a intergovernmental organization started by 4 countries. 4 countries are there at present in this association: Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. So when such things come in news, what you need to do is you need to know the boundaries of these countries. What are all the boundaries that comes under these countries should be known. It was set up in 1960. Year is not much important. However, you can take a note of it also. 7 member states were there earlier. Now we have just 4 member states for the promotion of free trade between these countries and then for promotion of trade between these countries and the European Union. It was founded by Stockholm Convention in 1960. That point is very important for prelims. India, this particular topic is in news because India has been negotiating to have a free trade agreement with the European Free Trade Association. The reason is European Free Trade Association, which includes these 4 countries, are India's 9th largest trade partners. So we need to have a free trade agreement with them so that we also will benefit. The name of the agreement is Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement. Apart from this, we are trying to build a bilateral investment treaty also. Bilateral investment treaty means what? If people come from, the investors come from these countries to India and they want to invest, what steps we have, what are the procedures we have, or investors from India want to invest in these countries, we will design some steps and measures for that. So this is the entirety of the agreement. The problem is the talks has been going on for around 20 years now, around 15 years now, and then around 20 different trade talks has happened already, but we are not able to come to a conclusion yet. Hopefully by 2024 this will happen. So these are all the news which were in focus today. You can go through them, try to take some extra notes, try to read the newspaper. It is very important. So that would be all for today. Let's meet tomorrow. Thank you.